Hey everybody, welcome to the segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Tuesday, February 25th, 2020. And today, this is going to be a bit of a commentary based on President Trump's visit to India, which was, I would be understated if I say that he was well received and pretty much just really, President Trump is making more of a statement. This was a historical visit, just like many of President Trump's other visits, whether it be South Pacific visits. But the underscoring of this particular segment will be, I will be basically offering installments just on a few things on foreign policy, the media, and also just, the president's message of nationalism. And those will be the points that I will do somewhat of an expansion on, not to labor you with those points, but this is just underscoring some of the commentary and some of the with the press conference that followed, that wrapped up the particular visit. Now, the thing about the president is his message is very consistent. I mean, President Trump always delivers a message that's consistent, and the message is about liberty, it's about freedom, it's about the people, and then it's about the people of the respective country or region that he's in. And he also, he will underscore the United States and where the United States, meets, where the United States is united with those that support the same message or the same mission. Well, specifically, I'm speaking to, now I'm going back a little bit back down the road here, if you will. Now, last year, of course, President Trump delivered a powerful message in the tornadoes and in the tumultuous times of the whole impeachment hearings. President Trump delivered a message of nationalism, and he delivered a message. That message was directly to the UN, the General Assembly meeting in New York. And so I'm going to paraphrase this. It's very simple. It's very consistent. He basically said, the future belongs to patriots. And he challenged and he encouraged those in the meeting. It was a message for the world. Empower your nations. Liberate your nations. Build on the prosperity of your nations. It does not, the future belongs to the patriots, not the globalists. So, to have that consistent message, and then have President Trump deliver the same message in India. I mean, is anybody surprised? I mean, then you have, of course, you've got the mouthpiece of CNN and the mainstream media of America. These networks are so bought and paid for. I just think it's just going to be a matter of time before everything implodes. I mean, I can just start with just, for example, I can play it out. You had Jim Acosta accosting the president in full DNC style. The more Jim Acosta speaks, the more he sounds like Hillary Clinton to me. He starts out, he starts out with a plea, well, will you make a pledge that you won't accept any foreign countries' assistance in the election? And I'm just thinking, that was the very first thing out of Jim Acosta's mouth. I mean, and then the president says immediately, first of all, I have not accepted any assistance. I don't want anything from any nation. The same thing, it's just the same. It's the same hoax. They go from Ukraine to Russia. They just keep trying to build, and they keep trying to they keep trying to find some type of weakness to write on, and it's the same narrative all the time. And Jim Acosta takes Russia to India. He takes the Russia to India. He takes the Ukraine conspiracies to India. And he's one of the most irritating, probably the most irritating. And in fact, he even took the opportunity, to trade back and forth, saying, with the president, oh, well, we have a record of telling the truth. And the President Trump says, actually, no, you have probably the worst record on veracity and reporting the truth, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. So that's what, generally just right off the cusp, you have an American representative attacking the president, projecting and stirring up, drumming up conspiracies already for the, he was there obviously for political, narratives and drumming up things for the election season. He wasn't, he doesn't ask any questions of substance on any policies, just like the party that he represents. He has no questions on policy, no questions on, the general welfare or military. He has no questions like that. It's all about conspiracy, build conspiracy. And in fact, President Trump also debunked quite a few other things as to, he said he wasn't told that Bernie was, that Bernie Sanders was made aware that the Russians actually, supported him as a candidate for president. He said he was not informed of that, and that the press exaggerated it per usual. So, there again, you come right out. But there again, you have, it's more of the same kinds of things. You have the people, the Indian press, asking more questions related to the actual trip. And then you have Jim Acosta, you have the DNC representative there. And can you get to the news? Can you get to some substance? Can you get to things that actually matter? Instead of drumming up, political narratives for a press conference. I don't think they're capable. They're not capable of that. I mean, not to mention, of course, going back into, President Trump's policies, the foreign policy. He talks about, that Europe should be doing more. And this is also a bit of the center of my commentary. It's to me, the obsolescence of NATO and the UN. To me, this is underscoring why I think that those relationships are going to be, they could very well be dissolved, because he emphasized, the president, I'm paraphrasing, he says, other countries are not doing anything. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to deal with many of these conflicts in the Middle East. They didn't do anything. Europe hasn't done anything to deal with the Kurds. He's here again. There's the U.S. putting up more, and these nations, these organizations are not doing anything. And he even emphasized, he says, the U.S. is 8,000 miles away. These, the caliphates and all these, and ISIS and all these things, they were out of control prior to him coming into office. And just here again, he is saying, the president is saying the same things. But because of the globalization and the mainstream media, they're pushing their own narratives, which is anti-Trump. It doesn't even matter. And then, of course, they had to get into the weeds, of course, with the Harvey Weinstein situation, in which, of course, the Democrats supported Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein, tomato, whichever you prefer. But, of course, he talked about, he named Michelle Obama, he named Hillary Clinton. You can name all of Hollywood. All of these people supported Harvey Weinstein. The Democrats, and not to mention, the funding. The president underscored how Harvey Weinstein said he was going to do everything to basically, he was going to work hard against him. It's, he basically brought out a lot of, he brought a lot of things to where they needed to be. And that's, he just brought a lot of things to the forefront on that. And it's the same things, but the thing about it is that the conflict, the chaos and the conflict between the Democrats, these globalists, and all of these partnerships that are trying to take down the president, or that are trying to move the U.S. and move the world into new world order, or a prison planet, it's going to have to come to a head, or it's going to have to come to, it's going to have to be brought to justice, because things can't continue the way that they are. They just can't. I mean, I've said this before, of course, we've got a lot of things, for all the positive things that are going. We've always had, of course, the globalists are always concerned, talking gloom and doom, whether it's recession, or whether it's depression economically. And then, of course, you have the corona. You had, you can go back to the U.S. with saying, oh, well, what was you mentioned incompetence. Well, do you mean there was an incompetence on your administration's, behalf? And then, of course, the president has to, it's just, it's a nonstop battle with it, with the American press. And it's an embarrassment. Not to mention, we had, the president doesn't get credit for, he never receives credit for, he's actually an intelligent man. He's very intelligent, because he talks about these Supreme Court justices. Specifically, he talked about Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, both of these people are Supreme Court justices. And if our Congress, if our government were following, and these legislatures were following the Constitution, these people would already have impeached these justices, because he is spot on when he talks about their behavior. Okay, so specifically, I'll go to one example here. Now, with all the corruption and with all we've learned about the swamp and the depths of the swamp, President Trump goes right out and says, this is his tweet that was brought up during the press conference. He says, quote, Sotomayor accuses GOP appointed justices of being biased in favor of Trump, from at Ingram Angle and Fox News. This is a terrible thing to say, trying to, quote, shame, end quote, some into voting her way. She never criticized Justice Ginsburg when she called me, quote, a faker, end quote. Both should recuse themselves. Okay, now see, and then this message, I believe the president is basically, he's giving you a lot of information in his tweets. These tweets are historical. These tweets are going to be cataloged, and they're going to be worth money, or they're going to be worth, that it's a new standard of course, not just communication, but his own press management. Okay, he's his own press secretary to a great extent. Okay, so in this, I think recusing themselves, well, to me, it almost signifies, it could signify that, they're not going to have any choice. If they're entangled in any of these things that the president is investigating, or if they have any corrupt, dealings or entanglements, private or public, they're going to be brought down, because, you know what's happening, and I think that they're feeling the pressure. They are very much feeling the pressure. And I will give you one more. And of course, he mentioned Chuck Schumer. of course, when he talked about funding or, militarizing the Indian, the country of India with the $3 billion, or well, just, you know, he talks about that in the particular press conference. But then here's another quote. He talked about crying Chuck Schumer is complaining for publicity purposes only, that I should be asking for more money than $2.5 billion to prepare for coronavirus. If I asked for more, he would say it is too much. And he didn't like my early travel closings. I was right. He is incompetent. So, and see, he basically paralleled that to the $3 billion that the Indian, that they're going to receive in the military provisions, in the military defense provisions. So there again, you have the same. It's always the same. It's always the same. From the DNC. And then this is the last installment on this particular segment. There was also talk of the of course, the religious freedoms and, and then of course they bring back the Muslim ban. Well, President Trump is not going to give up. He is not going to give up all that he knows. He's not going, for Trump to disclose everything that he knows about the amount of corruption that's gone on and the agitation related to the previous administrations and we go down the line, he would be exposing everything that they want from him about that Muslim ban or whatever they want to call it. It's classified information because he knows the amount of agitation and the feel towards America. He knows what the Middle East feel is towards America. He knows that. And so for him to give up any information, specifics on a Muslim ban or specific groups and why this and why that, it would totally undermine the safety of our country as well as our men and women that serve around the world, and especially in those regions. So, so they have to go to their cultural Marxism and start, well, it's just discriminating, and what do you think about, the Prime Minister Modi, what do you think about that? So that, there again, they're trying to drum up narratives build on old narratives for the sake of this 2020 election cycle. So that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to get the bites to create their own narratives and mocking narratives for this new cycle, for this 2020 cycle. But they're going to be built basically on their same globalist agendas. And generally that's where I'm coming from. So I appreciate you for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn and allowing me to replay that out, the president's visit to India. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think we're going to see something from AG Barr soon, or do you think the stalling, the whining, it's getting old if he's going to blame the press and blame tweets at this point? It kind of you need to start doing your job or bring something forward, or will that be an issue of recusal? Are we going to see a recusal from him? So let me know what you think in the comment section. Please hit the subscribe or like, leave your concerns and comments. And also, if you could hit that subscription bell to get notifications on all of the upcoming things. I also have a new affiliate that I will be posting in the upcoming segments on Black Spring with Autumn. And I like to wish everybody a great Tuesday. And I will see you again next time on Black Spring with Autumn. Have a great Tuesday.